Emily, girl. Emily, you are in danger, girl, and you need to speak up for yourself, and you need to run straight to divorce court because Brennon is not it, and he don't like you, and you could do better. No, ma'am. So anyhow, hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here on my channel, y'all know we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. This video, we are talking Lifetime's Married at First Sight, season 17. I believe we're on episode 8. It'll be right in the description, titled Divorce, Prayers, and Spider Scares. Before we get into it, y'all, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Y'all been coming through. Comment down below. Y'all was getting into them comments on the last episode, so we got to keep it going. And also share the video where you like to share your content. I'm going to scoot up as I feel far away from y'all. I'm a night late. I know I'm a day late. I had a dinner to go to last night, y'all, so I couldn't get down here about the Married at First Sight. I didn't even have time to finish watching the episode yesterday, so I had to finish it today and get on here real quick. Okay, so basically the episode picks up, before I get into it, I'm gonna try to go in order instead of going couple by couple, because the way the episode went this time is kind of easier to just go in order for the most part, so just follow me. So anyway, they picked up where they left off last week, with Orion and Lauren fussing and fighting down with Pastor Cal, and the couples are waiting to go. They are ready to head back to Denver. By the way, I would hate to leave beautiful, warm, tropical Mexico to go back to cold, dreary looking Denver, but that's what they got to do. So Lauren and Orion come back and they can finally leave. Austin asked Lauren how she's doing. She says she's had better days, and he's okay, well, at least she's being honest. Lauren said, you know, they are going through some irreconcilable differences. I struggle with that word, y'all. Orion was like, well, no, that's not really what it is. You know, we just navigating some conversations that are hard to talk about right now. And once we can figure it out, we could tell y'all. So he was like, okay, cool, we here to listen. Lauren said her husband's idea of what's going on and what's really going on is not matching up. And it's not. It's really not. So anyway, we see everybody back on the plane, talking about how they want to get back to life. They want to get back to their dogs. They want to see their family. They want to get back to work, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And everybody going to the shared apartments. Come on, oh, this is nice. Oh, look at this blanket. Look at this sofa. Look at this queen size bed. I said, y'all going up for the queen size bed? But anywho, nothing wrong with a queen size bed, y'all. So everybody's, you know, getting into the apartment, seeing how it is and all that. So Lauren and Orion, let's talk about them first. So Lauren and Orion sit down and eat some pizza or something, and they talk about, you know, how they want to move forward. Because I guess Orion first said he wanted the divorce, and then he said he wanted to try to work things out on the plane. So she's asking him, okay, how are we going to move forward? And, you know, we got to, you know, they're deciding they got to put the past in the past, and maybe they need to take some space right now, but they're going to try to work it out. They was talking about a whole bunch of nothing, okay? So they both left the apartment with they said to go back to their houses. So I said, y'all really wasting Lifetime's money. Y'all ain't even staying in the apartment. So then we get Claire and Cameron, right? They are talking about how they're going to navigate living together and their work schedules and all that stuff. And Claire did say she's nervous about living with him, like the cleaning and the cooking and how it's all going to work. Like, is she going to get on his nerves? He going to get on her nerves? They did decide that, you know, there are going to be things that come up as long as they communicate. She's never lived with someone before. He has. And so she said, well, I know you have experience with that. And so she's more nervous than he is. And so he said, well, his former living experience wasn't that great because he lived with the girl and her family. And remember, he said he hated you coming home. So he said you would have to be totally personal who I think you are for it to be anything worse than that. I was like, dang, how bad was it? So, you know, she's just sharing her concerns. And he said, I'm not worried about you getting on my nerves. I'm more so worried about me getting on your nerves. Because, you know, Cameron liked to tussle, y'all. So he be pushing the limit. And he said, like, you know, he liked to play things out. He liked to see how far things go. Before he speak up and say something, like, he gonna wait and see what the limit is. And she's like, no, she don't like that. Like, immediately, if there's an issue, talk about it, nip it in the bud right away. Okay, so I'm kind of in the middle, y'all. Like certain things, depends on what it is, I will nip it in the butt right away. But certain things, if I feel like it might take me a moment to realize, like, am I okay with it or not? Because sometimes I can be slow to processing because I'm just moving. So then sometimes I have to go back and think it over, like, oh wait, I didn't like that, or was I tripping or not? Like, sometimes I don't realize. Like, I let a lot of things just roll off my back. And maybe I don't take certain things in, so then I'll be like, not worried about it in the moment. Then maybe I'll worry about it later, or maybe not. A lot of times it be a not. So it just depends on what it is, though, too. So then we see Austin and Becca. They were talking about, keeping stuff clean and all that, and how they're gonna be living together and working things out and all that. They wasn't talking about nothing either, y'all. So everybody tired. They want to eat and get into bed, okay? But Brennan and Emily, they, sat down, and Emily, she said she felt the shift in Brennan leaving the honeymoon, and she shared about that on the after party as well. So she was saying, they need to get some cleaning stuff for the house, they need to get some plants, they need to get this and that. And so she's sharing, oh, look at this blanket, like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So then he's like, okay, so you're gonna work here? And she's like, yeah. And so he's like, okay, I might take my first call here, and I'll make some breakfast, and I'm gonna go back to my house and work there. And then he's like, I got a little tidying up to do, and I know we both busy with work, so how about we just live separately back at our own houses for the next few days, and then we can reconvene and see about moving in together. I was like, what? That's not what we're doing at Married at First Sight. We're not going back home to the house after the honeymoon. No. So she didn't really like that, but she didn't really speak up in that moment. And Emily is kind of irritating me because she's trying so hard to make a relationship work because she's never had a relationship. So I think that she doesn't want to say too much, so she's been quiet on a lot of things. She's been letting Brennan lead the way on a lot of things, which is fine to take the man's lead a little bit, but girl, you don't know him that well, and he ain't leading you nowhere, is what it looked like. And so I wish she would have spoke up in that moment instead of only in the confessional saying how she didn't really like that and didn't agree with it. And she's like, okay, but she didn't like it. So, we see everybody waking up the next day. The next day, Emily woke up. She said this first morning she woke up by herself since being with Brennan. She was sad, but she was tired. She got to get her life together today. Okay, so then we see her go over. We also saw Becca and Austin getting up. We saw everybody getting up, right? We saw Lauren, before I move on, we saw Lauren in the bathroom. She was combing her hair. Lauren, your curls, girl, are on point. Your hair, that natural hair is beautiful, girl. So she had a pick comb, for y'all who don't know. I don't know all my audience. Shout out to the Brandy Vaughn channel. But she was doing her hair, and she said she got a text from Orion, saying that now he want to go back to the divorce. He don't want to be married, but he wants to continue the process. And she was like, I thought the process was being married. So she don't understand. Neither do I, girl. Divorce is the key word here. She said, he's just had too many inconsistencies, and she is confused. Girl, we are all confused. Orion is confused in a very many ways, okay? So, like I was saying before, y'all, Emily went down to Brennan's house, because, everybody got to see each other's houses, right? Emily goes to Brennan's house. He looked like he could care less about her coming to his house. He looked so uninterested. Okay, he was barely saying any words. Like, yeah, up there on my TV. She's like, oh, look at these plants. He got a bar card. Oh my God. Yep. So this is your office? Oh my gosh. Yep. Oh my God, your desk space. You want to get a bigger one? Okay. Yep. Oh my God, you got this and that. Oh my God. Yep. I was like, Brandon, you could give her a little more. She definitely feels like he's pulling away. And she knows that something is up, okay? We saw Becca go down to Austin's house. We didn't see Austin go to Becca's house, though. So Austin, remember, he has a roommate. It looks like they live in a pretty big house. He had a bunch of them caps on the wall, y'all. And so they were just talking about how they would be living together. She was getting a tour. She likes his house that it has character. She asked him about, because she said his bathroom was clean. She said, how often do you wash your towels? He said, he don't really know. He don't keep track. He do his laundry once a month. And he's like, how often do you? She said once a week. She washes everything once a week. you could tell she was like, yeah, your towels once a month. I mean, how often is he changing the towels? So, like me, I got lots of towels. So I might wash towels maybe once a week or every two. It just depends. I have a washer and dryer in my unit though. So like I just wash it whenever I feel like I need to, like it's time to wash, I just throw a load in. So I don't have to really think about it. Like I don't gotta lug clothes somewhere. So but for me, it's like if you got plenty of towels, okay, how often are you changing those towels? But y'all let me know how often do y'all be washing in the comments. So anywho, and then he was saying like, I know this is farther down the line and everything, but after decision day, since we both are on a lease, let's stay back in our apartments. And then once our leases run out, then we can find something together, right? So she was looking like, excuse me, sir? So then she's like, well, I'm on a month to month, so I got flexibility. He's like, well, obviously I live with a roommate, so I don't know, because he ain't trying to leave his roommate high and dry. Oh, y'all need roommates. But nothing wrong with a roommate in this economy, though. Don't get me wrong. So, she was like, well, I think what makes the most sense is that once your lease runs out, then you will move in with me until we find a place together. She straightened him out real quick. And he's like, okay, but do you got a garage? Because he said his garage was getting renovated, so all his stuff was in the house in the garage. So his house was a tad bit messy. Anywho, Austin. So then we saw Claire go over to Cameron's house. Now, this part was funny to me, y'all. So Claire went down to Cameron's house. Now, to get in his house, looked like she had to come down the stairs. And I know some houses in the Midwest are like that because my family that lives in Wichita, Kansas, some of their houses was like that. So she had to come down the stairs to come in the house. So she got the tour. And he was showing her his little bike fixing area and his little office. And she said he had more stuff than he made it seem like he had. So then they went to the kitchen and he had the rice cake snacks. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I like these too. Like I put, like, what do you put on them? I think she said she puts almond butter and he said he does honey. So then he had this other food. I forgot the name of it, y'all, because it was a name native to his country and I don't want to mess it up. So he had some kind of like something similar to like a honey that you put on the rice cake, but it wasn't called honey. I don't remember the name. He said basically it's fermented yeast, I believe he said, and it's something they eat back in Australia and New Zealand. They grow up on it as kids, and he said it's really good to him. So he said that's what he puts on his rice cake. So he had her smell it. She was like, oh my God, that's awful. I was like, dang, girl. So she was like, okay, give me the tiniest slither. He's happy that she wants to try it because he's, they're both adventurous. So she tried it. She was like, oh my God, this is so nasty. Nope, I cannot eat this. No, She was like, oh no. I was like, dang, girl, you could have, I didn't say you had to lie or, sugarcoat it, but dang, girl. I was like, I kind of felt bad for Cameron, but Cameron didn't feel no type of way. He was like, oh, this is, it's good to him. She needed some soda water or something to wash it down with from the refrigerator. So then he was showing her, I guess he won like medals from bike racing competitions and hiking and stuff. And I guess he used to do a search and rescue thing. And so he was showing her all that. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't even know you were into all that. And so he's like, you got to ask me. So then I guess he has some spider traps. He got a little spider problem. And so he need to call a working man or somebody. So he gonna lift up the spider trap and show her the spider trap with all the spiders on it. And she's like, ooh. And so then they decided to leave and she had her shoes off and she was like, ooh, I'm getting itchy in here. I'm getting the crease. I got to get out of here. I was like, girl, you are so rude, but I ain't mad at it. So anywho, then we see Cameron go to Claire's house. I don't know if she has spiders or not, but we did get to meet her dog, Lenny. And so Lenny was not checking for Cameron. He paid Cameron dust. Cameron has said in his confessional that he likes dogs as long as they're not too yappy and getting on his nerves. He said Lenny was very standoffish. Maybe he's not a people person. So she said that she didn't want to put the responsibility of Lenny on him. She would take care of it. But like where they're living at the shared apartment is like more of a concrete jungle. It's not a good place to walk the dog. So she might have her sister just take care of the dog instead. So then she was packing up her books and her whatnots, clothes, pictures. So I guess he saw something religious. I didn't see what it was. And so she was like, oh, you're Catholic. And she's like, yeah, I told you I'm Catholic. He's like, no, you said you was faithful. But she's like, yeah, like once my brother died, I really wanted to get back into what, spiritually grounds me. So she got back into her, Catholic thing. So he said that, for him, she knows that he's not religious. And so they're going to have differing opinions on that. Okay. I didn't know she was real into, being a Catholic as well. I don't remember her saying that, but all right. I think that was pretty much it for that scene. So then, I think after we didn't see Lauren and Cameron. Lauren and Orion, they not about to go to each other's houses, y'all, because it's a wrap on them. And we didn't see Brennan go to Emily's house also. Okay, so now let's talk about when the couples met with the experts. So finally, the experts are present this season so far. Okay, so far they've been a call away, y'all. So we'll save Lauren and Orion's conversation for last because that was the last scene of the episode. So I believe the first couple that talked to Pastor Cal was Brennan and Emily. So they went back to the shared apartment that they wasted as well and met with Pastor Cal. Him and Emily had on matching brown, y'all. So Pastor Cal was saying, okay, this is looking real not lived in. Let's talk about it. So Brennan was like, we both busy, So I said, let's live separately and then we're going to reconvene. And so Pastor Cal's like, okay, but how was that working out? And so Emily said she didn't really want to do all that. And so she was kind of tiptoeing and backpedaling and pee-popping. And he was like, nah, like, y'all skating around the issues. Like, I don't want you to be mean, but I want you to, like, not say what you need to say. Because something he asked her, and she was like, yeah. So she kind of sung it. And he was like, no, you sang it. Like, what are you really feeling? And I think that's about, like, not wanting to live in an apartment and feeling a shift from him and all that. And so Pastor Cal asked Brennan, like, what's going on with you? Or are you not connecting with her? And so he said he's not feeling that. I think he said he's not feeling the physical attraction or connection to her. I don't think he used the word physical attraction. I think he said physical connection. Like when they were on the honeymoon, he said he felt really good. They're having a good time. But then, now I remember he shared this with Pastor Cal or another point in the show before that in the confessional. He said towards the end of the honeymoon, he started feeling drained. And he just needed some space. So I was like, ooh, that's not good. That's not good. So he don't even like Emily like that, first of all. We just going to say what it is. So right there with Pastor Cal, he said, he's trying to feel whatever he should be feeling, feel that connection, but he don't feel it. He said, like, he'll touch her knee or whatever, but in moments or whatever, but he don't really feel it like that. And so Pastor Cal said both of y'all's parents been married for a long time. Like, they're not going to always like each other. Pastor Cal's like, okay, but if you feeling that way, like, why don't you try to touch her or do this or do that? So Pastor Cal said, I feel like, you're being very guarded in what you're saying. Like, you're not trying to show the emotion. You're being fearful almost. And so then Brennan gonna blame it on being on TV. Talking about, oh, well, I'm on TV and, you don't want to be careful about what you say. And, when I'm more comfortable, I'll open up. I'm like, BS. He don't want to be the bad guy of Married at First Sight. But you already the bad guy. And we gonna get into that too. So, Pastor Cal said, okay, are you attracted to her? Like, do you like her like that? And so then he said, oh, I'm not answering that. And then he's like, why not? Pastor Cal's like, why not? He's like, yo, no, because that's really rude. That's not right to say. And so Pastor Cal was saying, okay, what do you like about her? And he was saying that, she's ambitious, she is smart, she's kind, she's very important. So they like the same foods is what they really say, y'all, which is nothing. So then Emily's like, oh yeah, that's important. And so Pastor Cal was like, okay, why don't you let go of the expectations? You start right here and build from this. Don't make it be what you think it should be in your mind, because it's never going to be that. He said you're doing a self-sabotaging thing, right? So later on, and this is the last time we're going to talk about Brennan and Emily. Later on, right, we see them debrief after meeting with Pastor Cal. And so they were like, okay, how you feel about what Pastor Cal said? And so Emily's like, oh, I agree with everything he said. I feel like with the self-sabotaging thing, Brennan just kind of chuckled like, really? And she's like, yeah, I definitely agree. And she's like, there's just things I need to know. Like, are you attracted to me? Like, I need to know, are you attracted to me or not? So then he was like, oh, I'm just not going to answer that. I'm just not going to answer that. And she's like, why not? Like, I can take it. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Just tell me, like, what's going on? And then he's like, I'm just not going to do that. He's like, why not? She said, why not? He's like, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to do that. And so she's like, okay, that's my answer right there. And I said, bingo, he don't like you, girl. Because if he did, he could easily say, yes, I think you're beautiful. I think you're gorgeous. I think you're this and that. The fact that he don't want to say what it is means that it's bad and he don't like you, okay? And Brennan, you need to go somewhere, sir. Because the way you are talking to this lady and treating this lady, and did y'all see on the after party that she said at the honeymoon towards the end, they were having fun and kissing under some waterfall or something, and she asked about having sex, and he said, oh, we gotta wait till you in the circle of trust first. And then something else he said to her, and she called him out on how he was talking to her, and then he didn't like it, and he's pacing the room and raising his voice at her, and she felt like she should not have even brought it up. I was like, oh no, Emily, girl. Emily, you are in danger, girl. And you need to speak up for yourself. And you need to run straight to divorce court. Because Brennan is not it. And he don't like you. And you could do better. No, ma'am. So, anywho, that's it on them, though. So, then let's talk about Claire and Cameron. So, Dr. Pepper, finally, she showed up to work. Came to talk to Claire and Cameron, right? She's the only one that... she only saw them. Pastor Cal saw 2 couples, I believe. So anywho, she goes to talk to them, and they're being sarcastic about, oh yeah, we just got married, blah, blah, blah. They brought up, she asked, is there anything they wanted to talk about, any issues? And so Cameron brought up the whole physical touch thing, that it's taken them a while to build that physical intimacy on a honeymoon, and that's been an issue. Claire shared that that's been an issue in her past relationships, right? My mouth gets dry so easily, y'all. I talk all day. So, she said that was a past issue with her previous relationships, and like she has a hard time having that physical intimacy unless she has that emotional connection with somebody. She's very awkward about it, and it's showing on the screen, y'all. And so, she says she knows that's something she needs to work on. Cameron appreciated her just sharing that, even in that moment, right? And so Dr. Pepper said there's lots of ways you can work on that. Touch his hand, hold his hand, stroke his back, touch his shoulder. And so she was like, okay, so if I grab your hand like this, like, do I need to ask you? Like, is that okay? I was like, girl, just hold his hand. So he was like, it's fine. And Dr. Pepper even was like, that's the part of this conversation. Like, he's good with that. You need to do that. So, anywho, Dr. Pepper then brought up religion because, she producers didn't probably roll the tapes back for her, y'all. So then, Claire is very strong in her is it Catholicism? Is that how y'all say it? I don't know. Practicing as a Catholic, I'm gonna say it like that. And he said he's not really into the religion thing anymore. He said he grew up Christian. However, he got kicked out of the church when he was 10 years old, y'all. He said because he stood up in church about something that was going wrong when he was 10 years old. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was back in Australia or New Zealand or wherever he's from. I'm assuming that's where it was, New Zealand. And he said he wants to teach his kids that the world is very gray, and that he feels like religion doesn't prepare them for the greatness of the world. So Claire says she respects that, but she disagrees with it. And so Dr. Pepper basically told them, like, what matters is that the morals and their core foundations and beliefs line up, not so much as the religion. I kind of feel like the experts are steering people wrong with this. And y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I think people do need to be the same faith. Like, if both of y'all are not really strong in y'all faith and y'all not tripping on that, okay, that's fine. But like, if I'm a strong Christian and I'm a Christian and somebody else is not, and I'm used to going to church on Sunday and then you don't want to go with me, or, I think it just can lead to bigger problems. I don't think, and it messes up the foundation of the relationship, in my opinion. But again, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. So that's what she told them. Okay, so then we basically done clearing camera. So let's get to Becca and Austin. So Pastor Cal comes to talk to Becca and Austin, and he notices how cozy and close they are, and he asked how long did it take for them to do that, and they said it's pretty instantly. And so Pastor Cal's happy with the progress they're making. He asked did they consummate the marriage. They said no. Austin said he likes to take his time and grow a connection. He's like that regardless. So I was surprised Pastor Cal didn't bring up her health issues in that moment. That's what I thought was going to happen. But anywho, so then, I guess Austin brought up the whole religion thing. He said they wanted to ask him about differences in religion because he's Christian and she said she's Jewish. Oh no, first they talked about having kids and she said that she doesn't want kids, so she's ready to bust them out if somebody wants to. He said he definitely wants to have kids later on. Okay. And so then he asked about the religion thing, and so he explained their differences. And so Pastor Cal asked Austin, what are your core beliefs? He said, the love of God. Okay. So then he asked Becca the same thing. She said, being nice, being patient, being kind, love. He said, okay, it's the same thing. And so Becca's thing is she hasn't met a Christian that's hasn't tried to basically convert her and tells her that basically she's going to hell because she doesn't believe in Jesus Christ as her Lord and Savior, especially being Jewish and her Christian friends. And so Pastor Cal said no, that's not it. Don't let people tell you you're gonna burn in hell. You're going to hell because you don't have Jesus in your heart. If you're being a good person, you're having those moral values and all that, then your beliefs are aligning. And so he said basically it's the labels. You guys are getting caught up on the labels when the core beliefs are the same. Now, I'm surprised. I'm gonna say this. I'm just very surprised Pastor Cal said that as a pastor. Now, I don't have a right to say, I'm not saying Becca's going to burn in hell, because I can't say whether Becca's going to burn in hell or not. I'm not God, right? But I think part of being a Christian is believing in Jesus Christ, right? So that's why I was kind of confused by what Pastor Cal said, but I get what he was trying to say. Basically, basically nobody can tell you, Becca, you gonna burn in hell or not. I think is what he was trying to say. But anywho, I don't want to get too far into religion stuff. That's not this kind of YouTube channel, but if y'all want to discuss it in the comments, we can. Just keep it respectful. Because I know everybody has different beliefs and everything, So but Becca started crying and he consoled her. And so Austin said he agreed with what Pastor Cal was saying, but he has to process it and take it in because he never thought of it like that and just kind of take the time to think it over. I don't think he's with it. I think he knowing that mama his is going to be like, no ma'am. But didn't he say his parents had different religions? So I don't know. I'd be interested to know what their difference in religions were. And how Austin handles that. Because I don't think he really agreed with Pastor Cal, to be honest. This is what I think. Anywho, let's talk about Lauren and Orion, right? So, they meet with Dr. Pia, okay? She's on special assignment with them. So, Dr. Pia come down to that shared apartment that ain't nobody using and meets with Lauren and Orion. And so, she's asking them, okay, what's going on, Orion said he felt like they needed to take space from everything going on. And so, basically, long story short, Dr. Pia is saying okay, what happened from the honeymoon to now? Lauren is saying 1 minute. No, first, let me back it up. Dr. Pia asked, when's the last time did y'all communicate today? What's up? And so Lauren's no. Orion said, oh yeah, we text, whatever. We tried to meet up. Orion said our schedules just didn't permit it though. Lauren said, well, I feel like the effort on his part wasn't really there because I texted him what my schedule was and then there was no text back. I feel like Orion is the worst kind of gaslighter. He's the worst. Anyway, Lauren shared how Orion, 1 minute he wanted to get divorced, next minute he don't, next minute he want to just do the process, but he don't want to be married. He flip-flopping. She said she's very confused by everything he has going on. Orion said, I was just making general statements that I think we need to concentrate on moving forward in the future, like not just for the marriage, but just for in general. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he be talking in circles to me. Is it just me? So then Dr. P, and so then Orion feels like every time, we try to talk about our stuff and our issues, he feels like they can't have the conversation because Lauren be going from 0 to 100 real quick. So Lauren's like, okay, but that could be true, that's fair. However, like, don't make it like I don't have a reason to react. And I just don't like how he said that. Like, she don't have no reason to be mad right now. And all that gaslighting. Oh, no. It's really ticking me off at this point. And I'm being triggered about last week all over again. But Dr. Pia said both of y'all, when you get anxious, you kind of like have a fight, flight, or fight mentality. Like, you want to protect yourself, and both of you guys have coping mechanisms that are not the best. And you guys haven't known each other that long enough to even know how to deal with that kind of stuff. So, these things take time. Dr. Pia kept talking about, these things are going to take time. I said, Dr. Pia, we ain't got time for this right here, okay? We need to wrap it up and divorce it, okay? So Dr. Pia is asking Lauren, like, okay, can you give Orion grace? Like, have you forgiven him? She's like, yeah, I've already said this many times. I forgive him. I want to move forward. I still want to be in a marriage. She asked Orion the same thing. He's like, nah. So then I was like, goodbye, Orion, goodbye. So then even Dr. Pia was through. She said, Orion, I'm not really understanding where all the frigidity is coming from. Like, she don't get it. And so he said, there's basically like it's stuff he just can't work past right now, and he just can't get past it. I'm like, sir, you are just determined to have an issue. It's very much giving Gen Z, and I'm sorry to my Gen Zers, but some of y'all, not all y'all, not the people on my channel, but some of the other ones, y'all be determined to have an issue for no reason. So, I just don't like that. Like, ooh. So then, Dr. Pia was like, how does control show up in your life, Orion? And so then he's like, oh, me ending the marriage is not a form of control. And then she's like, oh, no, yes, it is. It very much is a form of control. And then there's something else she asked him, and he tried to like lie, and he was like, no, you right. And so, anywho, ultimately, he feels like he wants to get a divorce. She asked Lauren, like, okay, is there anything else you want to add to this to say? She's like, no, it doesn't even matter what I say at this point. And Dr. P is like, no, it definitely does. And so she said, I already knew going into marriage is going to be really, really hard. And I just hope my future marriage, is plenty of grace extended and patience, and we can work through things. Orion is over there telling me, well, wish you the best. And he said, he's happy for the decision he made and all that. Now, in the after party, he tried to make it like, oh, I was just so in my head, and I just couldn't get past things. And looking back, I wouldn't hold a grudge for more than an hour. And everything Keisha Knight, Pulliam, a.k.a. Rudy, and Nicole Hayes from Essence tried to call him out on. He's like, oh, I just couldn't get out my head. I was like, you know what? Go back to your mama basement, Orion. Goodbye. So they're getting a divorce. So another couple bites the dust, because already Michael got left out the altar. So now we're down to 3 couples, y'all. And we ain't got no more of us on the show, but it's okay. I'm going to still try to stick out the season for y'all, because I started it. And it's still going to look good, because I need to see what's going to happen with Brennan and Emily. So anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think in the comments. It was another heavy episode, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll probably do another short about sisters. I got to watch this week's episode also. And I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye.